Hey guys, welcome back to another video here today. It's been a while since I've made a video, and I really wanted to get back into it. If I sound a bit nasally, it's because I'm sick, and obviously I look quite disheveled, but I really wanted to get back into recording, so hopefully you guys can enjoy this even though I don't sound, or maybe I won't play as good as I normally do, but it's really been a long time. So let's get right back into it and jump back. Here we have, we're going to do an Under the Microscope series for the deck that you see right in front of you here, and it's quite a deck that I built in the past few days, and I had a good amount of success with it, and I've been tinkering here and there, and I've come to this configuration that I want to share with all of you guys. So let's take a look at it, and let's see what it actually is. So it's basically, it's Cawblade. So if you played in Standard long time ago, you'll know that Cawblade was one of the biggest decks in that format, right? So it revolved around Squadron Hawk. You can search your library for more copies of this card, and you can equip all these different kind of swords to it, or Batter Skull. And it also involved things like Stoneforge Mystic and Jace the Mind Sculptor. So obviously, those cards aren't in Modern, so there's not much we can do about that. But we can still play this kind of strategy where we try to equip swords to all these kinds of evasive threats, right? So instead of Stoneforge Mystic, we have Steel Shaper's Gift. You can search your library for an equipment card. So this lets us fetch up Sword of Feast and Famine, Sword of Fire and Ice, Batter Skull. We have Search for Azcanta that can find swords, can find spells, and all these different kinds of things. And then we also have our evasive but also disruptive threats, right? Geist of St. Traft is really hard to deal with. Hexproof can't be removed. Equip a sword to it and it just goes to town. You have Vendilion Click, which has 3 power in the air, so it's evasive and disruptive. You can disrupt your opponent's hand. And then you also have Spell Queller, which is also a threat in the air, has flash, and also disruptive. It can kind of pseudo-counter spells, especially very powerful against uninteractive decks where it's basically a counter spell for 3 mana that also comes with a 2/3 body. Of course, we are in a blue-white shell here, so having access to cards like Cryptic Command, Mana Leak, Spell Snare, these are premium counter spells that blue gets access to. We also have access to Serum Visions, removal like Path to Exile. And then we also have access to a card that I like, Elspeth Knight Errant, which gives all your threats kind of evasiveness, right? So we have flying already on most of our bodies, but giving Geist of St. Traft flying as well as generating creatures which you can equip swords to actually goes a long way in really grindy matchups. So I like that one of Elspeth Knight Errant to really maybe close out a few games, just extra 3 damage in the air and really seal the deal there. Now, of course, we're playing a blue-white mana base here, so we have 4 Celestial Colonnades, 3 Field of Ruins to disrupt greedy mana bases. We have 4 Flooded Strand, 2 Glacial Fortress, 2 Hollowed Fountain, 1 Irrigated Farmland, and then we also have 7 basics as well as Seek Roam Coasts. So I do quite like this configuration, and I'm excited to try it out with you guys. Let's look at our sideboard. So Celestial Purge, I really like Celestial Purge right now. Blood Moon is definitely on the rise. There's a lot of Blue Moon decks, style decks like Kiki or Through the Breach, Scred Red, all these different kinds of decks. So having access to Celestial Purge is really nice, especially because it also hits like all of Death Shadow's threats, which is really important as well. Rest in Peace and Relic of Progenitus are our sideboard hate of choice. Now, I didn't go too Rest in Peace because it does kind of screw up with our Search for Azcanta, but it is just a powerful card to have in a lot of different matchups. So I like having access to at least one. Stony Silence helps a lot against Affinity. Lantern, Tron even. It does turn off our swords, but those kind of matchups, our swords don't do a whole lot anyways, aside from maybe Batter Skull, but that still comes in with a body, so it's not too bad. And then, of course, we have Timely Reinforcements, because Burn is a real deck, and I like having access to a really powerful sideboard card to it. It generates bodies for you to equip swords to, which I really like. Then you also have Settle the Wreckage here, a great board sweeper that doesn't affect your own board, which is really nice when we're playing cards like Spell Queller and Geist of St. Traft. We do play 1 Supreme Verdict because sometimes we do just want to take the control role and maybe shave down on some of these 3-drop threats. And it's nice having access to one of the best sweepers in the Modern format. Then, of course, we have some counter spells too. Those are really important. We have Negate, Dispel, Ceremonious Rejection, all hit different kinds of decks. And then 2 Disdainful Stroke, because big mana might pose some trouble for us. We have an ability to set up fast clocks, but they're usually not fast enough. So we do need to land a threat and then protect it for a couple turns with some counter magic. So And that's why I like having these Disdainful Strokes, because turn 3 Geist doesn't get there on its own. You know, we don't have burn spells to close out the game like Jeskai, so we need to have some counters to prolong the game to allow Geist or Spell Queller or Click to get in there for a few hits. Anyways, that's the deck. That's the deck for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that and you got a sense of what the deck can do. And soon we're going to take it through 3 matches. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys soon. Hey everybody, welcome back here to this match with Blue-White Cawblade in this Under the Microscope series. Looks like we won the die roll, and yeah, we'd love to play first. Let's take a look at our opener here. 1 land, solid threats, but in good interaction, but obviously 1 land is not a keep for us. Not in this deck. Wow. Wow, we do play 25 lands. Let me remind you guys. So we'll mulligan this hand as well. And this, oddly enough, is a keepable hand. I'm gonna run bottom lands. I know that's weird, but so a Geist with a sword against a fair deck might be able to get there. Sorry about that, guys. Of course, if our opponent is on a Thoughtseize style deck, we're gonna end up getting ripped apart here, which is one of the reasons I bottomed the Colonnade, because it's just unnecessary. Ghost Quarter, turn 1 Ghost Quarter. Interesting. So it could be Death and Taxes, but black-white tokens, maybe? Alright, drawing lands. Not great. But Geist is a good turn 3 play. Especially if we can get a sword equipped to him. And then he can just go to town. Of course, Lingering Souls is quite a good answer to Geist of Saint Draft. So we do have to be a bit cautious there. Vault of the Archangel definitely tells me that my opponent is on some sort of tokens build here. They might have kept this hand because they have a Dismember or something like that. They can also Ghost Quarter themselves to fix their mana, but that's obviously kind of sketchy, right? At the same time, they might have not had a play they can make. Wow, Spell Snare is a really good draw. Because that means we can hit Bitter Blossoms and the like. Yeah, this seems like my opponent. We both mulliganed quite poorly, so. And we have a Sword of Fire and Ice with Spell Snare backup. Of course, if our opponent hits land right now, they're still in this game, but if they don't hit land, yeah, that's pretty rough for our opponent. So based on what we saw, I'm pretty sure they're black-white tokens. So let's get Verdict in here. Let's get Settle in here. Purge is interesting because it can hit Sorin as well as Bitter Blossom. So I think we bring those in. Relic hits their Lingering Souls. Negate hits basically everything in their deck. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, I think I want to cut most of my Path to Exiles. Sometimes they help push some damage through, so I'll keep 2 in here. Elspeth is just okay. It's not great. I'll keep both of my swords in. I'll keep my Squadron Hawks. Because this is a grindy matchup sometimes, Search for Scanta can be quite powerful. I can cut a Mana Leak, because it doesn't line up that great against what my opponent is doing a lot of the time. Geist is pretty poor, and so is Elspeth. And maybe we don't need 2 Purge. Maybe 1 Purge is enough. Yeah, I like this configuration here. I mean, Squadron Hawk is quite poor, but we can equip swords to it, like Sword of Feast and Famine, Sword of Fire and Ice, and get to town. So I don't think that's too bad. Wow. Both of our one-ofs are in our opener. With that said, I think this hand is absolutely a keep. We have turn 2 Azcanta, turn 3 Geist, hopefully turn 4 Cryptic. Eldrazi Temple. Oh! Eldrazi and Taxes, huh? Celestial Purge feels like a pretty poor card to keep in now. And Path to Exile now seems like a really horrible card to take out. Oh boy. Wall of Omens, huh? You don't usually see that in Eldrazi and Taxes, which is interesting. Here I could have kept up Path to Exile for a potential Thought-Knot Seer next turn. I'd rather just get Azcanta going. Obviously, I'm happy that we brought in our sweepers, but this is a matchup that can be pretty close, so it's important to play tight, you know. So if our opponent has Thought-Knot Seer here, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble, but it's not the end of the world. Interesting. Opponent just passes. So let's get Azcanta going. Put Spell Queller into the yard. I kind of like Spell Queller a lot. So no. Our opponent wants to flash in like a Thalia. That's totally okay. Especially because Queller ooh, Sculler, huh? Yeah, that'll be fine. Probably take our Path to Exile. Our hand is quite good. And I'm kind of tempted to... I can click... Yeah, I can... And they might just take click. But I want to click in response to Aether Vial, I think. Or maybe I should just do it right now, because it doesn't make that much of a difference, actually. Because I don't want to let this Vial tick up to 3. And I also... And if all they have is 2-drops, and they have a good 2-drop, maybe I want to get it, so... Alternatively, we could just jam Geist and go to town, but I feel like Geist can get stonewalled super easily. And the fact that they didn't play Thought-Knot Seer last turn makes me feel like they don't have Thought-Knot Seer in their hand right now. Maybe they're sitting on a bunch of black spells. Yeah, that's more or less what I thought they had here. So we could take the Strangler, because that answers our Vendilion Click and gets rid of our Path to Exile. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's let's get rid of this. Oh, well, yeah, because they'll tick up Vial to 3, right? So. And now we can actually block this Tide Hollow Scholar, which is nice. Of course, I do feel like quite the idiot for cutting all of my Path to Exiles here. Path to Exile is great in this matchup. It's interesting, right? Because our opponent can't attack into this, but we can attack into them, and then we can flash in Spell Queller to block. Excuse me. If our opponent wants to trade their Flicker Wisp for my Vendilion Click, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe. Let's see what's on top of our deck here. Supreme Verdict. No. That card is perfect. And they ticked up this Vial to 3, so we don't have to worry about future Tide Hollow Scholars, although they do have the option to Flicker Wisp me now. That would give us back our Path to Exile, though, and then that would free up Verdict if they take Verdict. So I think it's okay to attack here, especially if they commit Flicker Wisp to block. What they could do is end of turn, flicker our Colonnade. Excuse me. I think they wanted to play Flicker Wisp on main phase 2. Unless they're going for the tempo play and just getting our Celestial Colonnade here. In which case I will play Spell Queller. Yeah, sure. That's weird. That's because they're not going to draw that card until the end of their next turn. So now they have Restoration Angel for Aether Vial on 4. But it does mean there's no more instant speed Flicker Wisps, which is really nice for us. If our opponent attacks, I will absolutely ambush something. Yeah, I'm gonna ambush it because my opponent has Restoration Angel that I know that I can't kill. I can't even attack into, so I might as well just block. Of course, this is a poor play if I end up drawing land and wanting Verdict, but I think this is fine. This gets a Flicker Wisp off the board, or uses up the Restoration Angel. Yeah, happily. Please fix my mana. So we know they're sitting on Restoration Angel plus Unknown. Oh, 2 unknowns now, right? I think I keep a land on top. Squadron Hawk into the graveyard. Think that's a yes, unfortunately. Does make things kind of awkward. We're going to want to keep that land on top. The question is, do we want that Spell Queller too? I think the answer is yes. It's a threat post-verdict. So I'm obviously not going to attack into Restoration Angel, and I'll keep up Click to block Flicker Wisp. They might just proactively Restoration Angel here, depending on what the rest of their hand is. So I think our best odds of winning this game are with these 2 cards here. I imagine they Flicker Wisp their Wall of Omens. I mean, their Restoration Angel to their Wall of Omens. They get an extra card. It's really nice for them. So now we don't know anything in their hand anymore. Alright, Shambling Vent. It's not bad. It's another black source for them. So hopefully we can dodge a Tidehollow Sculler on this turn. Although even a Tidehollow Sculler isn't the end of the world, but it's quite difficult for us to deal with. Considering we're going to sweep the board, I think we're better off saving 3 damage than anything. And this also makes sure that a Restoration Angel doesn't save anything on my opponent's board because of Flicker Wisp. So we want to keep this card on top. I think we just fetch up a basic island here. Seems right. And I think we want to use our mana like this. Just sweep up this board here. This gets us our Path to Exile back. This is really nice for us. Means we can answer a Restoration Angel now. Means we can do a lot of things. So Batterskull is actually quite awkward against opposing Flicker Wisps, right? Because they can hit the token, and then you kind of just wasted 5 mana. So now we know they probably have... They have to have something to play here, right? Wall of Omens is a redraw for them, which is fine. I think the question is, do we... Alright, so they have 3 cards in hand. I wonder what their it could be like a couple Path to Exiles and things like that. If that's the case, Geist is really good against Path to Exiles, but no. Right, we knew about that Queller, right? We were drawing that Queller, yep. I think we just play a bit of Drago here. I don't think Batterskull does anything for us right now. Especially if, like, the Thought-Knot Seer resolves, we could be in quite rough shape. Worst case scenario, we can flash in Spell Queller. Excuse me, guys, sorry about that. If they're paying costs, it's pretty good for us. Oh, wow. Shambling Vent? Sure. I think I will just flash in Spell Queller to block that. If they want to path my Spell Queller, I think I'm okay with that. Or like dismember it or something. Alright. Land. Opponent's flooding a bit, which is interesting. Hopefully his Kanta can take over this game soon. Settle the Wreckage. No, I mean, Settle the Wreckage is great. I think here we just play Geist. We've already burned our verdict, so don't have to worry too much about that. Our opponent could just be pure flooding here. Ghost Quarter. Okay, Ghost Quarter means Azcanta doesn't line up that great, but we do have the backup Azcanta, which is cool. 1, 2. Sure. Yeah, pay 1 life to gain 2, I guess. If they have no better plays, I can understand that. I wonder if they're sitting on any double black cards. I don't know if Black-White Taxes plays any double black, but that seems halfway reasonable to me. Okay. Let's see. Irrigated farmland, yeah, we can put that in the yard. Let's go ahead and attack with Geist. If they have a Restoration Angel, I will path it before blocks. I wonder if they have, like, Blessed Alliance in hand. Alright, so looks like they have maybe another Restoration Angel. Possibly a Thought-Knot Seer? Okay. So, if they have another Restoration Angel here, we can counter it. Alright, so they got another black source, which again makes me think they're sitting on some sort of double black card. They could also just play few basics, that's entirely possible. Okay, I guess we just keep up Cryptic Command here. Again, Batterskull is just such a poor play into the Flicker Wisp, so I think we just, and they play 4 of those. So here we really want to find like a sword. Feast and Famine would be nice. Fire and Ice would be just as good. So of course we just burned our Path to Exile, which means a threat off of Aether Vial here could be a big issue for us. Our opponent's just drawing a lot of lands though. 1, 2. Oh, they already had double black mana, right? They had Vent plus Caves. So they're just getting this basic for Wrath of God. Oddly enough, I think I want to counter that. Yeah, I think I absolutely want to counter that. Mana Leak, really bad draw. Really bad draw here. They have an Eldrazi Displacer. That would be quite insane right now. Yeah, that nets my opponent a ton of value. I think we need to get aggressive here. I think we need to play out Batterskull. Although Batterskull is so bad against Eldrazi Displacer, but we can start equipping the Batterskull to Geist. Oh, we kept in 2 paths? Oh, that's insane actually. I think the question is, do they have another Restoration Angel here? I'm just gonna hope not. I think if they do, okay, they're just gonna cash in. Because we've already dealt with 2 Restoration Angels, right? And they could play 4. Wow, yeah. So, essentially it's a draw 2 here. Yeah, that... Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Is that not a May? Huh. That's a really cool play. Huh. I did not think about that. Wow. I never thought my own Spell Queller would be a liability. Okay, well, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Not the end of the world here, but yeah, maybe we could have waited on that path to exile. Maybe we got a little too aggressive. That was onboard tricks, right? Another Ghost Quarter is pretty good against Search for Azcanta, so Tide Hollow Sculler, the Leonin Arbiter. Well, no, because we have Scryed, so probably wants to keep this one around. Oh, no. Okay. So we'll just flip Azcanta now. 1, 2, 3. Another Displacer. Oof. Yeah. Okay, well that makes sense. Swing for 3. Say okay. Yes. Yes. Here we can just equip the Geist. The issue is they can block and then blink. So, but at least that uses up their mana. And we can attempt to race here. Yeah, so they can blink Wall of Omens, and then they can blink Angel, and then we've essentially only dealt 2 damage. Actually, maybe we could have equipped to Spell Queller, because our opponent is really disincentivized from blinking Spell Queller. Yeah, that's not something I considered here, actually. Alright, we're going to do a little bit better sideboarding for next round. Yeah, here they take Settle the Wreckage. I have to imagine. So Elspeth would actually have been pretty nice here to give our Geist flying. Yeah, an uncontested Displacer just absolutely takes over the game. Man, my own spell Queller working it. So could I have stacked those triggers in a different way? I don't think so. Thalia, huh? Okay. It's a Thalia. So now we just gotta hope that they don't have a Restoration Angel. Negate. Seems so bad against my opponent. Right, so that's the play I should have made the turn before. And that way I would have at least mana open this turn. Actually, that doesn't do anything either, does it? Because then they can just do it again. Oh, and I have to pay 1? Oh my god. Yeah, I think I'm about to pack it in here. Especially because of our poor sideboarding. Yeah. Yep. I have seen enough here. Sword would not have done it. Okay, so against Eldrazi and Taxes, let's go ahead and cut Mana Leak. Elspeth is good. Paths are great. Even Ceremonious Rejection is fine. Spell Snare is just okay. Celestial Purge only hits Tidehollow Scholar, so maybe that's not great. Maybe the Spell Snare is just better. Yeah, I think the Spell Snare is just better. Okay. Alright. We're sideboarding a little bit better this game. Should go a long way. Oh, jeez. Is Turn to Azcanta even good? I'll keep. It can maybe find us our third land. Alright, no turn 1 Aether Vial. Always a good sign. Alright, let's see if we can find a land here. I imagine we're getting Scullered here probably. Or Thalia'd. Yeah, Thalia's not great. Please land. Ah, that's the worst feeling. Let's just go ahead and draw step, click my opponent. And we can always Field of Ruin later. Wow. Jeez. I want to take the Sculler because it's their only other castable spell, but these Eldrazi Displacers are going to kill us very soon. I think I still take the Sculler, though. So let's take a little picture of this hand, and we'll take Sculler. It's a shame if we give them their land here, though, because then they can just slam, you know, or an Eldrazi Displacer. Because Displacer is definitely the way that we lose this game. So obviously we're not going to block Thalia. If they want to burn a Path to Exile, that's okay with me. I imagine we see Fragmentize hitting Search. Question is, do we see Path to Exile hitting Click? All of Omens. Okay, so it's another redraw effect for them. Yeah. Fortunately, wow. Wow. Okay, I think the way we want to sequence this here is get an island. So this will screw with their mana a little bit. It also decreases the chance of them drawing a land. And then we can Squadron Hawk a bunch of little hawks. Say okay. If our opponent wants to path me, they can totally do that. But now at least we have Cryptic Command mana up. We'll just take another hit from Thalia here. Thalia makes all of their cheap removal now 2 mana, and that really hurts when they're stuck on lands, supposedly. It might not be. They might have the 3rd land right now. Alright, no 3rd land. That's great. Wow, they have to go to... Wow, that's interesting. So they went to discard instead of Path to Exiling on their turn, which I think is the better play. I mean, yeah, it gives me some mana, but ultimately... Yeah, this is pretty good for us here. Sure, so they want to path on my upkeep. Yes. Let's go ahead and get another Plains here. Spellstar in the yard. So they used up a Path to Exile. So we know they have Path, Strangler, Fragmentize, 2 Displacers, 6 lands. So yeah, let's put Snare in the yard. Here, oh wow, we can't actually cast Cryptic Command because of Thalia, which is really interesting. Is there a way for us to crack Field of Ruin now? Let's just go ahead and get a Geist online here. Alright, there's land number 3, which is really good for them. This is the turn that they needed it, because we don't have Cryptic Command mana. And obviously, one of our paths in our graveyard already, which is very unfortunate because that is one of the best ways to deal with a Eldrazi Displacer, of course. So here they're in a bit of an awkward spot, probably. Yep. Hopefully we can find a sword to equip the Geist soon, although that would take Strangler. Interesting. I guess that does kill the Squadron Hawk. Sure. But that means we can actually tempo out these Eldrazi Displacers, potentially. Do we want to put Flutter Strand in the yard? I think yes. And I think yes here. So here we could shock to play a Squadron Hawk. I don't think that's very useful though. And awkwardly, I might actually just trade this Geist for a Wasteland Strangler. If we find a sword, we have Squadron Hawk to equip it to. So again, not too upset about that. But I think we just don't have the chance to take 5 here. We just that's too much for us. So now we still can't Field of Ruin plus Cryptic because of Thalia. So our opponent used their Wasteland Strangler, so we know about 4 of the cards in their hand. 2 of them are still unknown to us, though. The issue is here our opponent is kind of in a tough spot, because if they do nothing, we just activate his Kanta, right? So I actually want to hit their cave. And let's just get another island here. Let's activate his Kanta, see what we find. Spell Snare. I mean, it's a card. It's better than a nothing. Ooh, Path to Exile was a great draw. I think here we just play a Squadron Hawk and pass. No. If our opponent doesn't want to cast spells into our counter magic, then we just have all the time in the world to do whatever we want to do. Alright, our opponent finds another land. It's pretty good for him. Obviously, I'm not casting Path to Exile here because it means I would have to take down our Cryptic Shield. And I'm not blocking because that would just be kind of a silly trade. The Squadron Hawk is actually useful in this scenario. Hopefully our opponent does cast one of their Displacers. Or a Thought-Knots here. That works too. I guess I forgot to take out Relic. Relic is pretty poor against my opponent. So now we're in a pretty good spot, I would say. I would say we're in a really good spot. Our opponent's only got a clock of two attackers. They are sitting on their Displacers for good reason, I'm sure. Definitely not a card they want to lose. I think we'll just go ahead and counter that. Alternatively, we could just Path to Exile it. And then we can activate his Kanta too. That might be greedy of me here, but Ceremonious Rejection. So it is devoid, right? Yeah, I think I actually take the rejection here. Spell Queller. Wow, that's really good for us, right? 1, 2, 3, and then we have Cryptic Mana too. Yeah. So Spell Queller is nice because it blocks Thalia. Or it makes him use a spell on it, which is fine too. A Path to Exile on it. It's going to need a Path to Exile anyways, so this just makes them use their mana. Looks like our opponent has other plans, maybe? Vault of the Archangel, huh? They gain Death Touch until end of turn. If our opponent wants to use their mana that way, then let's go ahead and settle the wreckage here. And now we have tempo. And our opponent is way behind. Obviously, if we find a sword now, it's great, but no sword. Colonnade is actually a really nice draw because it means if our opponent taps out next turn, they're dead. One, two, three, four. Yeah, and then we can keep up all of our counter magic still. Two, three. Thalia, that's fine. Thalia really doesn't do anything here. Cumball, huh? Yeah, that's gonna eat one of my counters. This is really interesting because now they can't Path to Exile here. I think they just put themselves dead on board, right? Because Thalia can't block. I mean, Thalia shuts off their own Path to Exile. Oh, we don't have to tap it that way, right? We don't have to tap Ascanta. And that should be lethal. Thalia actually killed them. Alright, so that was the first match here with Blue-White Cawblade under the microscope. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for the second match. I'll see you guys real soon.